Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? Tell you what's going on. The deep state. It's going on. And that's what we're going to talk about. XRP, Trump, and the deep state, what they don't want you to know. And guess what? There's more than one.
Several, I would imagine. Several, in fact. Amazing. Well,
amazing. We're going to dig into that. We're going to dig in. We've got a lot of things we want to cover. Geopolitics and cryptocurrency. That is the theme of the day. And get your wallets ready. You know what we're talking about.
Badass Yeti NFT. The word is Yeti.
Make sure you have your coffee.
Make sure you have your coffee. Make sure you have your Badass Yeti coffee. Get ready to brew. I don't have it today because I'm actually out. So I'm drinking my Dunkin' today. But we have one entry in there so far. Let's get going, guys. Ready? Let's go. Hey. Let's go. Let's get ready to rock. Let's get ready to go. Guys, where are you coming in from? First one in. From Slovakia, in the house. Boynton Beach, Florida, in the house. Trump is your daddy. Zober's in from Colorado. We got Chad, of course, in from Celebration. Nowhere else, of course. Jeff London is in the building. And Chip, yes. Adrian, nice. West Coast here. Best coast of Puerto Rico. Beautiful. Let's F and go, says Colin Hughes. We got from the UK, of course. And Jeff already on the Yeti coffee, MVP mode, rant loading. There you go.
MVP mode.
Rant mode loading. Yeah, I love that. The rant mode is on its way. Beautiful people. Beautiful people. So it's been quite another week of winning. And if you're on the left and if you're a globalist, it's been a week of losing, which is spectacular. I love to see that. It's never gets old. Trump said we would get tired of winning. I'm not tired yet, Jeff. I mean, I'm still hanging in there. I'm not even tired at all.
Not tired of that.
Jimmy Young says,
keep it going.
Yeah, the Ripple fine to the SEC will be paid in XRP, so the gov can put it in their crypto reserve without having taxpayers pay for it out of pocket. Yeah, if there is a fine, we'll see what happens. There's some rumblings on that. We talked a little bit about that the other night too, that there might be coming to a close. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what ends up happening there. Brad Garlinghouse was commenting on the U.S. Senate Banking Committee GOP official X post. It says for far too long, certain industries and American consumers have been left in the dark. So that changes today with the Genius Act. It's a bipartisan step forward that will provide regulatory clarity for payment stablecoins, which is great. But we've been waiting like 15 years for like crypto legislation. Before there were stablecoins, there was crypto, and crypto's still waiting, right? I get it because it's USD backed, because they're trying to figure this out, but it is a little bit annoying. Brad Garlinghouse said stablecoin policy is on its way. A big thanks to Senator Hagerty, Senator Lummis, Senator Gillibrand, and Senator Tim Scott for their commitment with the Genius Act. And I do have an excerpt to play from that, by the way. We'll play a little of an excerpt here. This is Tim Scott talking about it on the Senate on the floor.
Digital asset community, and more importantly, the American consumers deserve clarity. For far too long, the absence of a regulatory framework has left consumers vulnerable and businesses in the dark. This uncertainty has also stifled innovation here at home in America. That changes today. The Genius Act is a bipartisan step forward in ensuring stablecoins are safe and reliable tools in the financial system. The Genius Act establishes common sense rules that require stablecoin issuers to maintain reserves backed one-to-one, comply with anti-money laundering laws, and ultimately protect American consumers while promoting the U.S. dollar's strength in the global economy. This is about keeping innovation and opportunity on American soil rather than driving it overseas. We are also taking an action today to end the weaponization of financial regulators.
Okay, that's a big one right there, Jeff. keeping innovation on our shores, but also, this whole idea of weaponization has gone way too far. But went off the rails in the last administration.
Weaponization and lawfare.
It is out of control.
It's way out of control. I mean, there's so many aspects of what happened over the past 4 years. As you dig into it and you really start breaking it down piece by piece by piece, what they orchestrated, starting in 2020. I mean, it goes way beyond that, with the media, the infusion of brainwashing, what they've done in the school systems, the dumbing down of the education state, the misinformation campaign spread through, false history, the rewriting of historical narratives, the propping up of figures of terrorist entities, and just the continuation of building these narratives in young impressionable minds. Then you get to a point where they shut down the system. They start attacking us on monetary level internally to the citizens of this country. 2008 they force a massive crash of the economy, to put a lot of people into distress. So now from 2008 through 2020, think about the mental state and what people had to go through during that period of time on the heels of an artificial crash from 2000 when Clinton and Al Gore burst the bubble going after Microsoft with an antitrust lawsuit, knowing that it was going to crash the markets. 2008 was a very similar situation. Governments crashed the market purposely to demoralize people that were getting way too wealthy in real estate because of all the flipping, but they let it go unchecked. It was the government that allowed that to happen. Then we get, from 2008, 2010, then finally 2020, after people have gone through demoralization multiple times over, then they come after the health, and so wealth, health, control, they attack us on that level and they make people stay in their homes. It's on a global scale. There's obviously all these other pieces. That's what the obvious known stuff is. Then lawfare, that's the control mechanism, right? So now we've witnessed it over the past, 4+ years. Lawfare, complete control through the three-letter agencies, going after political candidates. They're testing and working and orchestrating, and the false narrative of the hoax to allow them to control happened way before that too. It's just one thing after another. They just build it up, and then the people that have been so dummied down into compliance, a lot of people just sat back and took it. But Chip, you and I, the one thing that we've always said, it all comes back to the pendulum. They're swinging that pendulum artificially. It always comes back. The difference in this country from any other country in the world is our Constitution, number one, American ingenuity, and innovativeness, is that people here in this country want freedom and will fight for freedom and will do anything for freedom. Other countries, not so much, because they're steeped in history of monarchies. So if you're steeped in deep-rooted histories of monarchies, you're used to being subjugated. So if your whole culture and your persona and your history is all, built off of being subjugated by a dictatorial monarchical type of regime, how do you break free of the shackles? Our people that came to this country broke free and had to leave in order to find new lands, in order to break free from the shackles of monarchies. And so that's what we had to do. Canada, not so much, because Canada, still bows down before the monarch of England. They worship the monarch of England. So that's why Canada was never truly free, which is why they're easily manipulated. So all of these components kind of go into play. Our country different, which is why everybody in the world wants to come here, which is why it's so critical for this country to always be the beacon of freedom. And we'll always fight for our freedom. The rest of the world follows. So that's just the beginning rant of the day to take off of, that point, Chip, I think is really critical.
Yeah, it was funny to see the new prime minister being sworn in for Canada. He was basically swearing allegiance to the king, which is, I still don't get the whole thing, but it's not only monarchy, but it's the parliamentary system too, which is completely just a bad form of government. It's one of the worst forms of government that you could probably, enough of the MAGA BS. Yeah, let's not make America great. Let's have it dwindle with money going out the door left and right to woke causes. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. You're right. I don't know what we're thinking about,
economy.
but the parliamentary system is just a shit system of government. Forming alliances and and remember, let's not forget that it's the only system still in the U.S. that was made for the people, by the people, written by the people. It's like, a constitution, a republic. We're grounded in our Constitution, and the Constitution gives the protection and tells the government what it can't do. Every other constitution basically tells you how the government can shove their finger down your throat, up your ass, and every other which way is kind of how it works. And so there really is it. And then with the EU basically signing on to this whole principle of like, let's all get together and let's have this beautiful kumbaya moment. And then you have these unelected bureaucrats that are basically running the show and controlling 70% of what happens in these other countries, basically taking away their sovereignty, and the sovereignty of each country deserves to be with the country. They need to be able to look after their best interests. Slovakia needs to look after Slovakia's interests, not the EU. It doesn't care about what else goes on in other parts of the world. It needs to take care of Slovakia, right? Slovakia first. Every country should look at this. When Trump spoke at the United Nations, he said, you should think the same way. Of course, I'm going to put my country first, but you should always put your country first. And this is where this tariff war has been kind of crazy, heating up, because you had you have them coming out saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But the bottom line is that 250% tariffs on our dairy. You know what that means? That means the U.S. doesn't sell dairy products into Canada, is what that means. There's no way you could sell at 250% a tariff. So there are tariffs already in place. And the whole idea of like this tariffing and tit for tat and we're going to get you, we're going to one up you. It's not going to be good for long-term free trade. But somehow we have to figure out a way to get there. But in the meantime, let's listen to Senator Hagerty. This is Hagerty on the floor. Again, one of the bills he authored in the Genius Act. And this is his take on it.
The world modernizes its payment systems. The United States can't be left behind. Stablecoins can actually play a pivotal role in spurring modernization, whether it's improving transaction efficiency, freeing up working capital, or driving U.S. Treasury demand. The benefits of a clear regulatory framework for stablecoin are immense. I want to acknowledge the hard work of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle who've worked tirelessly on this bill and have consulted with countless industry participants, academic experts, and government stakeholders to put together a truly bipartisan effort. And I want to underscore that the current draft is, in the manager's package that's associated with it that we're going to vote on today, will address the many claims that were lodged by the ranking member today, and they will clarify the fact that many of the claims simply just aren't applicable here. The Genius Act has gained this bipartisan support because it presents common sense rules that protect consumers, promote competition, and foster innovation. It's time we provide the clarity and stability that our country and its innovators so desperately need. Before I conclude, I'd just like to note that Senator Brooks has also raised an adjustment to ensure the proper technical application of consumer protection laws. There are no loopholes created in this bill, and if there are any technical fixes necessary, I look forward to working with Senator Brooks and my colleagues on this committee to address them.
So what I like about this, Jeff, is the fact that it was truly bipartisan. It is good to finally see some, understanding and recognizing that something had to be done. You had to have some legislation put forward. It makes sense on the stable coin bill first, but you know what this really does? It subjugates any thought of a CBDC. CBDCs are so they're so out of touch. The whole idea of the stable coin is really replacing what many surmise would be the CBDC, but there's too much control mechanisms, right? And are you going to trust any government? I don't care who's running the show. I don't care if it's Republicans or Democrats. Who do you want to be able to creep into? Well, we don't think you should be purchasing those things, and being able to restrict, the programmability that was built into CBDCs, where the stable coin, a lot of what Hagerty had mentioned there, which is, for the markets, liquidity, all this kind of stuff that really bodes well for innovation, but it also, let's not lose sight of the fact that it's backed by USD, the stable coins. And one of the things that's going to be definitely going to taken out with this legislation is Tether. Tether's gone, man. Tether is not going to survive, not anywhere in the U.S. On any level, and all their pretend audits and supposed backing, and also too, who knows how much money they were throwing into Bitcoin too. There's too many smoke and mirrors done with this, where you're bringing real legislation forward that the good stables. And what does this do for Ripple's stablecoin? It really puts it front and center. And the timing couldn't have been any better. They roll it out in December. Here we have legislation coming into March. The timing is spot on, and you have Ripple primed for usage on their stablecoin that will, like Hagerty said, revolutionize payments. It'll go through the XRPL, and just a lot of great stuff's on the horizon in terms of that legislation piece, man. It's exciting to see finally, but let's get the crypto piece working too, guys. Let's not forget about that.
That's right. That is right.
Other cool things about the XRPL here. I got some other stories here in the Keep here. This one here, Axelar Network put this out. The XRPL is well positioned to become the liquidity layer of TradeFi and DeFi, and Axelar will play a crucial role as the connectivity layer of all of it. And this guy put out this post here. He said, for over a decade, XRP has been the crypto's best shot at institutional adoption. For over a decade, it's been powered global cross-border payments with speed and efficiency. Now with Axelar, XRP is making its move into DeFi. So here's how. XRP has quietly supported one of the largest cross-border payment and tokenization networks in the world, which we know, RippleNet, that's by Ripple. Launched in 2012, XRP was built to address the inefficiencies in global payments, dealing with the high fees, delayed payments, slow settlements, total lack of transparency. And it's excellently solved these by offering banks and institutions faster, cheaper, and more efficient alternatives. Over the years, XRP's efficiency and speed, reliability earned its trust of institutional giants and banks. So the results, 500 plus institutional partners, 80 plus traditional and crypto markets, covers 90% of the global FX payment, and 70 billion plus in transaction value. But XRP has a major drawback. It lacks programmability. Unlike Ethereum, XRP Ledger does not allow smart contract deployment, and it lacks native DeFi functionality. This means no DeFi activities and no way to communicate with each other, with other blockchains. Enter Axelar, bridging DeFi to the XRPL. So since the XRPL does not natively support smart contracts, Ripple built the XRPL EVM sidechain, which connects to the XRPL via Axelar. And this integration would create the shortest path for XRP to scale, enabling DeFi activities and dApps to thrive within its ecosystem. So this means that devs can build EVM-compatible dApps for DeFi activities at XRPL. You can have seamless transfers and transactions between XRPL EVM sidechain and 70-plus interconnected chains. Perform logic-like functions calls on the XRPL that can execute across 70-plus chains. That's a lot of chains. Cross-chain liquidity and DeFi access across multiple ecosystems, including Ethereum, BNB, Sui, and Solana. And then users from 70-plus chains can use XRPL-based apps and XRPL inbuilt DEX and AMM, one of the most reliable in crypto. And so here's why it matters. By bridging the XRPL to a broader DeFi ecosystem, Axelar enables XRP to scale beyond its native environment, unlocking new use cases for liquidity and financial applications. This expanded interoperability not only benefits retail DeFi users, but also creates that foundation for the institutional adoption. And as more institutions adopt blockchain into their system, they would seek some level of centralization and regulatory compliance, something XRP excels in, and they have massive institutional partnerships and is leading the charge at institutional DeFi. So XRP is well positioned to become the liquidity layer. Both TradeFi, DeFi, and Axelar play a crucial role as that connectivity layer. In the near future, we could probably see dApps that combine DeFi and cross-border payments powered by Axelar MDS, seamless tokenization of real-world assets to multiple DeFi ecosystems with Axelar ITS, and then seamless movement of assets across multiple ecosystems. So it just gears up to this is something that's been a huge missing with the XRPL, and bringing this whole TradeFi and DeFi to it is going to be monumental. Especially, I like how they're talking on the institutional, because institutional, Jeff, so what we always talked about, where you got the biggest bang for your buck, and that's where you're moving serious payments, not on the consumer side, but on the institutional side.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, overall, it's a massive play. We're starting to see what needs to happen. What needs to happen is development across the board. It's not just about Ripple. There's way too many people that were focused on Ripple only. Like Ripple's the only one. Like XRP is the only asset. Like Bitcoin is the only asset. What we're starting to see is actual development in the ecosystem. I like what Charles is saying. The RLUSD stablecoin, another layer of, I'm just going to try to memorize what he said, of the Ripple XRP monster ecosystem. So what is happening here, and it's not just Ripple, it is, based off of the XRPL. It's something that Ripple started. We're starting to see a lot of amazing things happening here. Programmability, Chad brings up Codius. There are a lot of other technologies that were out there that are all coming together at play over time. Some of them were just kind of like test cases. How can they test the system? At the end of the day, Chip, you're right. It's institutions, financial institutions, big business, movement of money, and that's where it goes to scale. If we keep playing in the retail space, then we might as well just focus on gaming, because gaming is a massive industry, and gaming has to be fixed as well. From a money movement perspective, an ownership of asset perspective. So in the gaming arena, yes, let's go retail, right? It's all about retail. How can you get retail ownership of your assets? How can and easily move those assets, around from game to game? How can you get continuation of currency within the gaming ecosystem at large, from game platform to game platform, that doesn't exist, to where you can transfer those monies easily from game to game? That needs to happen. In order for something like that to take place, you need institutions. So now, if institutions are going to build out from this DeFi, TradeFi, all these different environments are going to build out to move money. We're not talking about just in gaming, which again is a retail problem. We're talking about massive movement of money. We're talking about B2B. We're talking about big, needed corrections, even within our stock exchange or just our financial markets at large. There's so many areas of concern. Think about, if you want to use blockchain, regulatory, AI, what can it do within the FAA, and think about like all the planes that are being tracked on a national, city level, global scale. I know they have systems in place, but imagine you start taking out human error element from that. Think about real estate. Think about stock trading. NASDAQ is announcing they want to go to 24/7 trading. How does NASDAQ go to 24/7 trading if it doesn't have blockchain involved in it? It has to have blockchain involved, because now you have to take out the human error element, unless you're going to have people working 24/7 around the clock monitoring it, which maybe is what they're planning. I don't know. But stuff like that has to happen. We've proven time and time again that blockchain, can exist, it can survive, but now we got to take it out of the out of this environment, and it has to go global. It has to go massively mainstream with companies like that. We're going to start seeing more and more of these companies. It's going to be awesome.
Jeff, you got a fire extinguisher for my microphone?
I missed that one. I need that.
I was like, is it running? Is it running a little hot? Is it a little bit hot? A little bit hot there.
Okay,
Robert Dennis is be crazy, but it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, it's gonna get a little. Right, Flare better hurry up. No, Flare actually has. The Flare is actually on the move. I had some stories about Flare as well, but Flare is doing great. I think Flare is going to be a big time player. So Archex said that they're pleased to announce that they're live in RWA.xyz with their tokenized real world assets on XRPL, totaling nearly 45 million in total value. This milestone positions us as one of the leading RW real world asset tokenizers, illustrating our strong commitment to tokenization, digital asset innovation. Stay tuned for more updates. This is their website right here. Every tokenized real world asset in one place. Wow. So there you go. There's trusted resource institutions. There's some of the people they're working with right there.
Is that who they're actually working with, or are they just putting them up there?
Trusted resource for institutions. Yeah. So these institutions apparently probably are working in some way, shape, or form, purposely built for understanding tokenization across public blockchains.
And are they really working with them, or are they using Visa to buy stuff for their business?
Well, it says here,
Visa actually working with them.
They're a
trusted
resource.
So I don't know what that really means. What does
That
that
means
mean?
that Visa relies on them as a resource for real world asset tokenization. Made for digital asset teams, token investors. So there you go. Excel and data downloads. Pull data directly into familiar and convenient workflows.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Stuff
There
like
you
this is going to start. Where's the real world asset
Huge.
tokenization so massive. I mean, we're starting to see it. All the big players, institutions are seeing it. All this stuff, like we were saying on stage the other day, it's all going to happen behind the scenes. Nobody wants to know how the car works. Everyone just wants to know how they get in the car, hit the button, and drive.
But just look
That's
at
what
this
all these
list,
big
Jeff.
groups are doing. They're building the back end.
Check out this directory of real world of people tokenizing. Look at this. It's insane.
Super
Private
impressive.
credit, real estate, intellectual property, U.S. Treasury debt, private credit. You got carbon credits, commodities, corporate bonds, private equity. So you can see all these things. Here's some real estate being digitized. All of this stuff being tokenized. It's insane. Look at the amount of players. Never heard of any of these companies. So there's Circle.
Nope.
Of course, we've heard of Circle before. Clearpool, Cognito. Look at them all. But mostly around similar type concepts: private credit, commodities, real estate, bonds. A lot of familiarity right there. Private credit that they're tokenizing. So pretty incredible to see all this stuff just floating up to the top, man. It's another thing that Ripple. It's another big news for Ripple here too. So Reese Merrick, he is he's the senior executive officer, managing director of Middle East and Africa. He put this out. Huge news. Ripple's now, DFSA licensed to regulate crypto payments and DIFC. This is the whole thing. With clear regulations, growing demand, Dubai is the place to be. And then Ripple put this one out. Secured regulatory approval from Dubai Financial Services Authority, making us the first blockchain payments provider licensed in the DIFC. This is huge. Milestone unlocks fully regulated cross-border payments in the UAE, bringing faster, cheaper, more transparent. So you can just see this stuff is like, it should be massive news.
Yeah.
When you think about how big this is, especially being the first in the DIFC, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's so big. Stuff like this is possible now because of everything that's happening here in this country with the Trump administration. It's starting to open up the pathways. So it's pretty exciting, that, without the US involvement and big banks and institutions here seeing a path to normalcy in this space, this is it. The Middle East, Africa, they need help, they need support, but it's also about moving big money. So where do they connect back to? They connect back to the US.
Yeah, and Ripple's been putting all the pieces together, right? So
it's important.
They've been putting together the custody. So they have the custody solution. Wouldn't it be funny, Jeff, if we found out that Ripple was the custody solution for the U.S. government for the Bitcoin reserve? Can you imagine how some heads would spin on that one? But look at this way: the UAE global hub for outbound finance, 400 billion market for international trade. Ripple's seeing increasing demand across the Middle East from crypto native firms and traditional finance institutions alike, all seeking solutions to the inefficiencies of the traditional cross-border payments, such as the high fees, long settlement times, all the things we've been talking about here for years. But now, when you have these licenses, it makes it all possible, and you can go through the. Look at this. According to 2024 business survey carried out by Ripple, 64% of Middle East and Africa finance leaders see faster payments and settlement times as the biggest value prop for incorporating blockchain-based currencies in their cross-border payments business. This shit's going to take off like none before. Like everything, the stars are aligning. Started with the new administration, started with some crypto legislation, the stablecoin legislation is very key and important to this whole sort of ecosystem. And Jeff, we don't hear much about anymore. It's weird how we don't hear much about BRICS anymore, huh? As predicted here on the chain. As predicted. Womp, 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 womp.
What a clown show that was.
Right? That was a major clown show.
But how many of the YouTuber fanboys bought into that narrative? It really kills me. I was in front of a group on Thursday. It was it was great. And I was talking about this narrative of misinformation. Someone brought up and they said, "Do you think Pam Bondi is already bought out by Qatar. And I'm like, we're just talking about the misinformation of media. Stop listening to media. I don't care what the media source is. Don't listen to it like it's gospel. Take it in, listen to it, and then go do your own research. You've got to like look at everything that's happening. When BRICS came out, these YouTuber fanboys jumped in and like, BRICS, it's going to crash the system. They just didn't grasp the concepts of understanding to do your own research. And I get it. It was inundated now, and I'm talking about, some of these people, they go up on YouTube and they, start pontificating, over these things. And then they try to tie BRICS back to the crypto markets and the crypto industries and what they're doing. And Chip, you and I were the only ones that came out and said, look, Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa, I can give you that. You want those guys to come together. They're not going to succeed, but I get why they might be coming together.
Sure.
India, how does India factor into this equation? India and then we look at all their currencies. The Brazilian, what do they have in Brazil? I just blanked out.
Is Real? What is it? I don't know.
I was thinking the Real too, but I don't know
if that's right.
No, right. Venezuela is the Bolivar. So then we have Russia with a ruble. We've got, then India with a rupee, and then you've got China with
the Real.
It is a Real, okay, yeah, and then South Africa, and you look at their currencies. None of them are stable, right? They all have a level of instability. The one thing that many of them have in common are precious things in the ground that they can dig out and have some value. But then China, you think China and Russia are going to get along and try to share a currency?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, come on, really? And it was already shown. Like everyone, we're going to trade in our own currency. That's already proven not to work. Nobody wants your currency. Nobody wants the rupee to put into some sort. It's not a store of value. As soon as you transfer it over to me, it's probably going to devalue, and I'm going to lose value of it. I don't want your currency. You don't want my currency. I don't want their currency.
It was all China play from the beginning.
It was a big China play for control, But hey, just real quick, there's a commercial break. Hang on a second.
Let's do it, Jeff.
A badass Yeti from the tribe. What's the word of the day? Yeti. It's a common while I'm ready, because this one's gonna be epic. Get ready to claim your own legendary food tribe. Yeti of the clan of birds. It's Countdown number 25. The tribe Yeti. Of the clan of birds. It's Countdown number 25. Both 35. Oh, let's go.
Damn, that's a good promo there, Jeff. Holy cow, the Frostbeards.
The Frostbeards
making an appearance. Gotta love that. Guys, type in there, Yeti there. Quietly, a couple weeks ago, this was introduced. Ripple introduced this. This is the National Cryptocurrency Association. We have Stu Alderati talking about this a little bit too, but I actually like the direction of why they created this. There's so many other self-serving crypto blockchain associations that are self-serving and basically Bitcoin associations. So I like the fact that it says National Cryptocurrency Association. Here's Stu Alderati talking about it.
I'm here today wearing my hat as president of the National Cryptocurrency Association, which is a new not-for-profit that we stood up and launched just this week. And we did it because we felt that there were a lot of negative stereotypes and a lot of negative narrative around crypto users. So what we want to do is we want to amplify the voices of real Americans who are using crypto, tell their stories. 55 million Americans are now owning or using crypto. That's 1 in 5. But I think what really resonates is that they are everyday Americans. And we want to amplify their voices and sort of demystify crypto and make crypto much more accessible.
And so this is key, Jeff, in getting the message out there. Like, let's talk about people using crypto. Like, everything is always centered around legislation and this and that. But what about the people that actually use it? What about people that rely on it? Stewie, you gotta love Stu. And they do have a video here. Let me see if I can play this video on their website. Here we go.
If you see that comment, the pro wrestler hair is coming right along.
Damn right it is, baby. It's coming right along. Coming right along, man. It just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. Just keeps going and going and going, as they say. Image. Here we go. Hang on. Let me. Why do they make this so hard, Jeff? I just don't understand why it's such a struggle. Here we go. This should do it.
XRP plumbing.
Appreciate that, XRP plumbing. Thank you for that. Bitcoin. What did they say? Bitcoin bait. What's up, Justin? Gentle dudes. I love that. Here we go. Check this out. So I'm going to play this video here. This is on the National Cryptocurrency Association website, and this is the video. I haven't seen this yet, so we'll be watching it all together. Let's see. Let's press play.
All right. You ready?
Do you guys have audio?
Yep.
Okay, good deal. Just want to make sure. Let me see if I can make this large screen. There we go. That dude looks spooked, man.
That's like a little nervous. Why is he so nervous?
You're
I
on
probably caught him in a...
You're on TV. Relax. It's good. Relax. It's gonna be okay, right?
It's okay to look at each other, right?
Here we go.
I learned about crypto for a body of work.
I've been focusing on crypto gaming.
I was making YouTube videos. I wanted to work on something that's a little more purpose-driven.
Having a child is what really put us in the mindset of starting to want to invest more.
So crypto became my bridge to connect with people.
Talk to me about the blockchain. Explain blockchain.
I actually didn't know much about crypto.
And then I started really digging in, researching, and trying to figure out what is blockchain, what is crypto, how it all works.
It is simply just a record, a public ledger of value.
You can interact directly on the blockchain, exchange items of value much more easily.
Less fees, more transparency. It is sustainable, it is equitable, and it's fast.
It's having flexibility and feeling comfort and secure. And I think crypto makes us feel that way.
Blockchain has given me a new medium.
Crypto is the future.
This technology really can be used for good.
Let's cut. Okay. You got a thumbs up.
We're good?
We're good.
You know what? They should have used the video we made 5 years ago. Would have been
They could have done
much
too.
better. Our video.
They
Again,
could have done that. I don't know if it was much better. I think it's kind
it
of
was
dated.
significantly better. Well,
It's dated by today's
now,
standards, but
but our video would have crushed it. 5 years ago, we had people from the community coming out and talking about.
damn, there you
crypto
go.
and the impact.
Just stepped it up a little bit there, man. Hello. Look at that XRP plumbing. Beautiful for support, man. Thank you so much. I don't even know what the super sticker is, but I'm sure it's something cool. Unfortunately, they don't show it here. It just says super sticker, and we can't see the actual cool sticker, but we'll have to go over there. Or Tolo's eyebrow. Okay, so everyone's commenting on her eyebrows, freaky ass eyebrows. Yeah, listen, man. I thought they were kind of cool looking. I love I like that it's different because I look at a lot of eyebrows. It just basically put some white on there, so it was kind of cool. Those eyebrows made her look like a negative. I don't know, man. I thought it was kind of cool. Working on a plumbing Yeti. Work on a plumbing Yeti. Don't worry, there are Yetis. The Frostbeards have some amazing tools too, but there has to be a good. We'll have to make one. We'll have to make a plumbing Yeti just for XRP plumbing. Just for him, right? Just a special one. But I love the idea of where they're going with this whole thing. Also, too, so you saw this whole thing with the continuing resolution bill, and Jeff, I kind of wanted to spotlight this and highlight it only because. Senator Schumer was like the one he was going to shut it down. He's going to shut it down, but there's a little bit of a problem, and the main problem is that the last two the CRs that they voted for were more money, but also the same bill essentially. So you were okay voting for it when Biden was president for 2 times, and now this one is actually less money, right? It actually does some. It's on the funding side of it is less money. So here's some of the wins right here for this bill. So it keeps the government funded and empowers agencies to deliver on Trump's campaign promises to secure and restore the country, and address the waste, fraud, abuse of our tax dollars. It provides $485 million to continue ICE's critical work and the administration's robust immigration enforcement. So how are you going to vote against that? You want to vote against the immigration, right? So this like became like a spotlight on the Dems, and the Dems are fuming at Senator Schumer because he, at the last minute, said, "Okay, we're going to vote for it," because I think it would have been hard for them not to vote for it, and it would have just been another, mark on the Democrats. Includes 136 million for the Bureau of Prisons to cover the cost of holding illegal migrant criminals before they're deported. Fully funds the veterans benefits, including a $6 billion to cover the shortfall of the VA's toxic exposure fund, ensuring that the veterans have access to care. Now, Jeff, what have we been hearing about from Senator Warren? They're going to take away your VA benefits. They're going to take away your Medicaid, your Medicare. All this lies. They got nothing else.
Nonstop.
Zero fresh ideas. And here we are, $6 billion to cover the shortfall. Where did the shortfall happen? It didn't happen in this administration. So this is just, this is why Jeff's, what he says, don't listen to that crap. Don't listen to it. Gives the largest pay raise for junior enlisted troops in over 40 years. So taking care of the troops, increases funding for the Coast Guard, which has been lacking. And if you understand the borders and patrolling the borders and fentanyl and stuff, my nephew's in the Coast Guard, and he flies helicopters for the Coast Guard. And this is they're severely underfunded. So this is really good news. Increases funding for air traffic control operations. Now, Jeff, what have we heard about air traffic control? They're eliminating all the air traffic controllers. There's all these accidents happening. Meanwhile, there's less accidents to date than it was in 2023, 22, 21.
Still concerning.
Including hiring and training air traffic controllers, and continues the safety oversight. Ensures wildfire fires are well compensated following numerous wildland fires, including the devastating fires in Los Angeles. There you go. So that's what really is the bill, and it's going to keep things going, which is going to be a good thing. But again, if you listen to the Democrats, the sky's falling. It's absolutely chaos. Everything's out of control.
Of course it is.
Yeah. They're just another. And then Jeff, I don't know if you caught this. This kind of flew under the radar. This happened yesterday, but this right here is President Trump terminates the ISIS leader in a targeted strike. You can see that vehicle get hit right there, and it takes out an ISIS leader. Done.
You gotta love it.
And then I saw the Trump War Room typed F around, find out. But there it is. There's the car making its way down the road. Here you hit the drop. Boom. Into a billion pieces. There it is. Done. Died like a dog.
Gotta get rid of them one by one.
There you go.
Wherever they are.
Wherever they are. They're going to be targeted. They're going to be eliminated. Whoever wants to step up will be coming next. And this was on the official White House site right there. So I was, so there can be no mistake. A lot of times I see this stuff floating around, and you like, is it an old video? Here's Trump made a legendary speech over at Department of Justice yesterday. We're not going to play the whole speech, but I just wanted to play an excerpt of him walking with Pam Bondi and a little exchange that they had here.
Hold me close, hold me tight.
Oh, geez, get that music out of there. This is the same DOJ that was trying to take Trump out, trying to take him and destroy him. And now he's walking in as president of the United States.
Oh, wow. He looks like such a nice person. That's a rough picture. That's a rough picture.
We're waiting on JDs to go up.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
Right here.
He gave a pretty good speech too, and of course he got criticized by weaponization and everything else, and basically they're going to root out the evil. They're going to find out. And what I've been hearing from behind the scenes, what Pam Bondi's been doing a great job. First thing you got to do is you got to root out all of the people, because if you saw Merrick Garland leave that same hallway 2 weeks ago or whatever, 2 months ago when he was walking out, you heard claps and euphoria. Now, who are all these people clapping for him, right? And all the euphoria and going mad. You got to get rid of all of them. Get rid of them all. Take it right down to the bare bones. 75% of them, get rid of them. You got to find out who's on your side, because people are working against the administration on the inside, and those unelected bureaucrats have to go. There's no doubt about it, Jeff.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Get rid of all the unelected bureaucrats. One by one by one.
And here's Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, talking about Doge here. A little short little clip.
Cheers, very pro Doge.
Doge.
I'm pro Doge. I believe it's going to be great for America, and I'm supportive of it. And read into that what you will.
Right.
But America's going to become more lethal, more economically strong, and we're participating in that, and we're thrilled.
Yeah, damn right, you're thrilled.
He knows exactly the direction things have to go. This is why all these big CEOs are now getting on board, whether they think they agree or not. From a public perspective, I think all the CEOs, their primary objective is the growth of their company. Again, whether that was Mark Zuckerberg, in the early, in the late stages of the election cycle, when he already knew that, who was going to win. There were some really, key components to all of that, so I think that's, very important, as we look at exactly what's happening.
Yeah. One of my new favorite accounts on X is the Retard Finder.
Yeah.
This is, and basically it's pretty simple. I find retards in their posts on X. It's a very simple account. But there you go. Found one. Bill Burr. Almost forgot about this retard saying this. International find of the day. And then this one, Pocahontas, which I'm going to play right here in a moment here. I'm going to play this one. But this was Pocahontas talking about why she believed herself to be an Indian. You can't get any retarded than this.
I still have a picture on my mantle at home, and it's a picture my mother had before that, a picture of my grandfather. And my Aunt B has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians do.
Yep. Retard. So because that was the comment, this was the whole comment why she believed, apparently, that she was Native American, because her papa or her mama or whatever the hell commented that they had high cheekbones like those Native American Indians did. Okay, great. So now look at this woman. She's whiter than me, Jeff. She's the whitest white bread human being, and she's 1/1000th of Native American, which means she's not Native American. Nothing. Right. And she got embarrassed, and she still stayed in. They have no shame. They have no shame. Misappropriated a Native American, rode her career coattails on that, got into a tenured position over there at Harvard. She then went ahead and ran for Congress on a lie. And who are the people that are always talking about misappropriating other people's
ethnic backgrounds?
I
think whatever.
Biggest offenders of all, Jeff. It's insane to me. My God. And you see when I see a lot of comedians taking on a lot of heat. Eddie Griffin, who has been a big Trump supporter, if you watch some of his recent comedy, he's kind of gone off. He went off on one guy, some guy, and one of his shows, and it got almost a little bit violent. But I think that when you're a comedian, you're doing comedy, and you're standing up for what you think is right, it takes a lot of guts, and Eddie Griffin's been kind of leading the pack here. Before it was cool to like Trump, but this is him talking about it right here. So I thought this was a good excerpt.
How would he steal? He the richest man on earth. He gonna steal your tax dollars? Get the fuck out of here. You know how stupid y'all motherfuckers sound?
He's talking about Elon Musk and Trump stealing your money. This is because this is the narrative, right? That they're stealing from you. So this is Eddie Griffin's take.
Why would he steal? He the richest man on earth. He gonna steal your tax dollars? Get the fuck out of here. You know how stupid y'all motherfuckers sound? Elon steals. Y'all steal. Your bank account don't match what we pay you as a government official. Why is that? You only getting paid $270,000 a goddamn year, and your bank account is in the millions? How is that, Nancy Pelosi? How the you worth $290 million? Is it called insider trading? Because you know the deal was going down before it went down because you had to sign the shit into law. Is that how it's played? How the y'all call yourself human? How the you couldn't stand up and apply for a 13-year-old kid who's fighting cancer to this day, still whooping cancer's ass, and Trump made him an honorary Secret Service because that's the boy's dream. But y'all couldn't even stand up for that because y'all some straight up told mother. You all, I wasn't born with a jack stamped on my mother head. I voted Republican, and I think I did the right goddamn thing. I know I did the right goddamn thing. And y'all probably trick some more thinking that you have to vote Democrat if you're black. We not a monolith, motherfucker. I think for my motherfucking self, and I'm sure there's other black people in the United States of America that think for their motherfucking selves. You can pay all the motherfucking so-called black leaders to try to whip us into shape and keep voting for your Democrat motherfuckers that ain't doing a goddamn thing for the black community. Now, a DJ, I'll stand, because they did.
Yeah, I love that. He says we're not a monolith. That's great. Retard finder. Yeah, Rob, you gotta get on. You gotta check out the retard. You gotta follow the retard finder because he's like found one. That's the whole count is phenomenal, and it blew up. And I think even Elon Musk has reposted it. Yeah, let me go to this again because that's all he does is find retards. You gotta like it. Yeah, thank you for that, Brian. Smash the likes, guys. Look at that right there. There it is. I found one. John Bolton. Can I put this one on? Can I put this entire country on the list? Yeah, this is a rage room. You can go in and smash pictures of Trump. That's phenomenal. Oh, found another one. John Cusack. Found another one.
Man, oh man.
Quote of the day: I don't really view communism as a bad thing, says Whoopi Goldberg. God almighty.
Yeah, these people are, just look at them though. You can see there's just something off.
Yeah, he was asking somebody if they had a good picture. He wanted to use it for something upcoming. He takes somebody, he says, hey, can you give me a good biopic of yourself? I have something I want to use in upcoming. Found one. Hey, Chank, send me your latest selfie. I need it for something. Chank,
oh my God. That guy.
Rob, they're not hard to find at all these days. Remember, Rob, we were just reminiscing about the video we did. Remember the video we did for Congress? Rob Cash was on that famous video, man. That was a long time. God, how long was that? 6 years ago, Jeff? Jeez, it feels like forever today. My God, it was a while ago.
It's been a bit.
It's been a little bit of time here. And then I saw this one here. This was just a little message by Trump, but this is so important, man. A little message about not quitting.
I don't know if it's an ability or if you have it, just you can't quit. And I've seen people quitting, and if they would have held out longer, they would have been successful. I've seen it so much. I've seen some of the most brilliant people in the world that never made it because they were quitters. Never, ever quit.
Inspirational message for On the Chain today from President Trump. The never quit, man. Just keep going, dude. Keep going. Do not stop. Do not. Then I saw this dude here. He was giving some appreciation up. He had some words to say about Elon Musk as well.
This is Jake. Like a lot of Americans, my level of trust for someone is in direct proportion to the amount of hate they receive by the left. Right now, Elon Musk is on the receiving end of acts of leftist terrorism, domestic terrorism. Elon Musk, if you can hear this, Americans owe you a debt of gratitude that we can never fully repay. Thank you. Thank you for all you've done. Thank you for all you're doing for America. This is Trucker Jake. God bless President Trump. God bless MAGA America. God bless Uncle Elon. And y'all hang in there.
Cool message.
Yep.
I like he says a directed proportion to the amount of hate they receive from that. His amount of respect goes up for the amount of hate they receive from the left.
Yep. That's it. Amount of hate from the left. I've got to address this comment only because it keeps popping up, and XRP Plumbing's here all the time. But he keeps using this terminology of Zionists. I honestly don't think you understand what that means. I don't think you know what the terminology means. I also don't think you realize that the manipulation of the left and the socialism of the left is what's corrupting the country. The Zionists that you're referring to, the actual terminology of that means individual passion for the state of Israel and the building of a Jewish national homeland in the state of Israel. There's Christian Zionists, there are Jewish Zionists, and you'd be amazed, but there's a small group of Muslim Zionists. On the left, if you want to attribute any of the leftists in this country that claim to be Jewish, you know, their God is actually worshiping socialism and communism, not a God. So they've already left their religion. But this whole concept, and I hear this perpetrated so many times over, you know, of what Zionism means. And the Zionist, you know, is any religion that believes in the state of Israel, you know, from that perspective. And so, you know, this manipulation in this country, and, you know, if we're looking at it from a perspective of, you know, who's actually manipulating, controlling, it's a deep state agenda of a global scale that's manipulating this country. You have a lot of socialists, a lot of communists, and you have people that hate this country, but they're not Zionists. And I think that, you know, again, using that terminology is just incorrect.
Yeah, I see it. I see it all over the internet. It's like people don't. It's become a term that means nothing anymore because everything is Zionist. Oh, Zionist this, Zionist that, Zionist that. And when you break the word down to its simplest terms of wanting to have a nation state, that's all it is. I mean, but you go back into the history, and if you want to trace back history, and you want to trace it back to 3,000 plus years, you can trace it back to a homeland in a region of the world that was Israel. You can trace back to Christianity, back to a place of Jerusalem, right? So this whole idea of this word being bastardized, it's like the word racism. Everything becomes racism. Everything's so racist that racism doesn't hold any water anymore. It's the same with this word Zionist. I see it being used so haphazardly all over the internet. People in posts, the Zionist did this, the Zionist did that. And you break it down, and you're like, well, this is history, man. You can't deny 3,000 years of history. There, you know, and people want to compare it to Palestinians and everything else. It's like, well, great. Who are name all the famous Palestinian rulers over history? Tell me 3,000 years ago who was ruling Palestine. Okay, so where were the people of Palestine? It doesn't exist. Okay, it's not in the history books. It doesn't exist. It's a fable. But yet people want to go back to the well because they want a patsy to blame, and this is how it becomes super convenient for them to just start yelling out these words. And so I think it's good that we kind of correct the record. You may not like it, you may not, but if you do a little bit of history, go down the rabbit hole and start analyzing history, and go back 3,000 years and find out from 3,000 years to present how all of this shakes out. So that's all I'll say on it.
Yeah, and I think it's really important, only because I've been running into this more and more. You know, there's a lot of misinformation out there. Things are kind of twisted in a specific direction, and you know, and it's interesting. You know, when we start breaking down, you know, all of the narratives, and there definitely is a global agenda, you know, to take down the freedom. There's a global agenda.
There you go, Jeff. The one and only.
The one and only. That there was only one
from 30 years ago.
There was only that's it, and he's not from that region.
He's not from the region at all. No,
or not from, you know, that specific territory. Yeah, and so, you know, it's really interesting, you know, when we start really breaking it down. But what XRP, you know, plumbing is referencing also, you know, in terms of, you know, there, you know, certain, you know, people have adopted or backed themselves into, you know, the banking cartels. You have the Federal Reserve. You know, there's definitely other component to it, you know, because if you look at it from a religious identity perspective, and you say, well, you know, it's, you know, all the Jews. Okay, well, how about all the Christians that are in political office that are also bastardizing this, you know, the concept of our freedoms and our Constitution from a leftist propaganda perspective? Then you're giving them a pass. The other thing is, you know, I hear a lot of conversation about and ignoring the fact of the Islamification of the world. You know, why are people ignoring the Islamification of the world? Why are people ignoring the genocide in the Sudan? or the genocide in Syria, or the previous genocides in Lebanon that were perpetrated by the Islamists against the Christians. You know, why are people ignoring the caliphate? You know, why do people want to, using a term, kind of whitewash that and get rid of that part of history? You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, we see what's going on, the struggles even within India, in Kashmir, in Pakistan. You know, if you go, around the world, you start seeing a specific narrative. Why are we seeing, the problems in the streets of the UK and England, or in Sweden, or elsewhere? But people want to turn a blind eye to what's really happening. It's so easy to take one term and start pointing fingers at people, and then take that and as kind of a libel, or you want to label a group under something specific. Then it spins the narrative out of control, because there is a specific enemy on a global scale, and you could look at it from the Islamification, the Islamist agenda against Christians and Jews, and people of any non-believing religion other than the Islamist faith, not Islam specific, but the Islamists that are seeking to conquer and destroy. And then you have the leftist agenda with the Marxism and the socialism and the communism, and that group, that's their worship. They worship that leftist political ideology. They have no religion. Anybody who goes and steeps themselves into Marxism, socialism, or communism has zero religion. They've left their religion behind them. So I don't care, if you were a Christian, if you were Jewish, or you were a Muslim, as soon as you adhere to those principles, then you have no religion anymore. Your religion is your political ideology and your political identity at that point. And that's the narrative. And so when we talk about the collapse of the Federal Reserve, or you look at from a banking perspective on a global scale, there's multiple groups of people that are behind that. There's not just one group of people. The deep state isn't just one group of people. It's a multitude of people. And that's where, if we ignore the reality of the situation, then we're not really, focused on, what our agenda is, and so, that's also really, really key. And, to the Joe Bud's bring up, there's groups within every group. Yeah, I mean, you can break down, Christianity into many different groups. If you go to Jerusalem and you walk into you can go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. You can look at where, Jesus was, crucified. And within that same church, there's a difference of beliefs, where one group believes he was crucified here on this spot, and his body was brought over there, before he rose. And then and these groups, on Easter time, the police have to come in to separate them. Why? Because they fight each other. We're talking about history from 2,000 plus years ago, and they're debating which direction he went, and yet they're going to fight each other within two different religious sects of Christianity. And so it amazes me, when we start breaking it down. This is the objective. They really want to divide. They want to divide the people, allow people their own religion. And that's really the most important part.
The 1946 Israel is a low intensity operation. It's for and by the bankers. No, it's really not. And again, you have to review your history. I know you named some leaders there that are all recent, but there are no leaders that date back. There is no history in the region that belongs, which started with the Jewish faith. Christ was a Jew. Then you have Christ ascending, as Jews look at him as a prophet. But then you have, Christ coming from the region as well. And so we're talking about 2,000 plus years ago, right? So the idea of Israel having a state is not a far-fetched one by any account of the measure, because it's what's expected. So the whole term's gotten bastardized, and I feel people don't even understand what it means as they start throwing it around over and over again. That took a hard turn. I wasn't expecting that. I did not have that on the bingo card today. But it's good that we kind of we're going to go all kinds of places. Whether
workshop this stuff, yeah.
What if your God's not Jewish? Then great. Your God doesn't have to be Jewish. What if your God is, what if I'm Christian, and I mean, I believe in, Christ walked the earth. I believe in, the messaging, I mean, I was raised Roman Catholic, but I've since just more or less become more of a Christian, but I keep an open mind. But I'm not gonna, if somebody believes in Islam, if somebody believes in Judaism, that's the freedom of choosing a religion that suits you. Where I have an issue is when you start, when it goes off the rails for me is if you start attacking somebody because you don't believe what I believe. People famously critique the Crusades, and the Crusades were just to get back what was lost, right? It was to get back what was taken from them. And people are like, oh, the Crusades, they were so horrible. Well, no, let's go back before the Crusades. What happened prior to actually engaging in the Crusades? But I look at, if you want to practice your religion or no religion at all, if you're an atheist, that's your choice. But to infringe on other people's right to have a nation state, to me, is a really dangerous road to go down, especially when they're steeped with so much history behind it. And, the Jewish faith, and out of the Jewish faith, you have, the Christian faith that grew out of that. Christ was a Jew, and, and then eventually 700 years plus later, you have Muhammad that comes up, shows up on the scene. So I just don't like the fact that if you're gonna persecute other people for not believing what you believe, I think that's a dangerous right turn. And I don't know if I would term that as religion, but if you're peace loving and you believe in peace and the ability for people to pursue whatever they want to pursue, I'm all for it. There you go.
Yep. And, and this is a whole in-depth conversation. We can, dig into it.
We could go deep in this one.
I mean, it's interesting. I like how XRP plumbing will stick in there, and, we can debate this, a lot further.
Justin wants to get back to the crypto content.
Yes, right.
He's not going to throw any more grenades. I was trying to watch what Rob says, divide and conquer always work with people who are tribal by nature. That's exactly right. I mean, if you look at any of the dogma of all the communism, it's always separating the people out, right? Separating by sex, by religion, by race. It's all these things to try to destroy a people from inside. That's how you do it. And as soon as you wake up to the fact that that's how it is, what if there's no God? Then great. What if there's no proof that God has a great book called The Great God Delusion? So that's fine. So what? You don't have to believe in God. Whatever drives you is what drives you, but you got to give people the freedom to believe in what they believe in. And that's the whole idea of freedom of choice. And, that was the whole founding of the U.S. is like founded on freedom of religion, right? Free to choose whatever faith you want to choose, right? So
the reason why Jews have been persecuted throughout history is because people are always looking for a scapegoat to point the finger. When Jews do well, they're doing too well. When Jews aren't doing well, they're, people always point the finger. And this is the problem. This is where, this maximalist mentality and behavior. Why are Christians being persecuted and thrown out of the Middle East right now? Christians on a massive scale that you want to ignore. And it's been happening for decades.
Yeah, 3,000 just got slaughtered, Jeff. 3,000 Jew or Christians just got slaughtered. No, there's zero talk about it. No one wants to talk. 3,000 Christians were slaughtered, dragged out of their homes and killed. Nobody cares.
So horrendous, and nobody cares. And why is this all critical to the crypto discussion? Because this is geopolitics. This is the whole, core of the essence of what we're discussing. This is the narrative. This is why, when we look at things from a decentralized perspective, why we have to consider, the significance of putting the power back in the hands of the people and looking at all the corruptive behaviors that are taking place on this global scale. But as soon as you ignore the fact that, Christians are being persecuted and there's an actual genocide being committed at the hands of the Islamists, and we want to ignore that fact, then we ignored what happened in Iran. We ignored what happened in Lebanon. We're ignoring what's happening in Syria. We ignored what happened in the Sudan. We're ignoring what's happening over in parts of Kashmir and India and elsewhere throughout the region. There's always been conflict and turmoil over in the Philippines with the Muslim sect over there. You have to think about what happened in Indonesia, and it goes on and on. That part of the world that, of Asia is a little bit different as to why you don't see the massive rise of Islam like you do in the Middle East. But they, at one point they spread in that direction. But now, as you see that persecution, and we fought it for and we have to be very cognizant of it because it's coming to our shores here in this country. It's in the UK right now on a massive scale, and people want to ignore it. Hey, go ahead and ignore it. Point your fingers at other groups and put your head in the sand and ignore it to your own detriment. Similar to when we talk about, the keys behind the blockchain and institutional need for it. And also then, and it's a crazy conversation to pull all these things together, but it's really, really important, and, we have to think about, why do we keep talking about cryptocurrency as, we need multi-chains. We can't just have one. It's not just all Bitcoin. It's not just all XRP. It's not all just whatever, Ethereum. They can't work in silos on their own. Each one of them has their own power hold within this space, and that's what's important.
Exactly. Well, that was a right or a left turn, however you want to look at it. But I did want to play one more bit before we get to the Yeti drawing. I wanted to play this by Eric Schmidt on the House floor. I thought these words were pretty. This was amazed he even said this, but he called it out. He says what many of us are often thinking.
I thought it said
just
defend.
opine just for a second on why my Democrat colleagues on the other side are so nervous about all this DOGE stuff. It's because this racket that's been used to launder taxpayer dollars to their buddies and their left-wing radical groups, the gravy train is stopping. And it's terrifying to them, but to normal people in real America, they think this stuff is crazy. And finally, we have somebody in the Oval Office with a team who can root this stuff out. So keep going. We're just getting started with this stuff, and we'll be back next week with more ridiculous things that the Democrats want funded with your taxpayer dollars. I yield back, Mr. President.
Beautifully well said, Jeff. That was absolutely well said. It's time to do the drawing. If you guys did not type Yeti, I don't know what to tell you. You had your chance, but now we're going to do the drawing.
You see that comment?
What's that?
How about the fact that the I in BRICS has backed down from leaving the dollar? India caved under Trump. More winning.
Of course.
More winning. That's how it goes.
More to come, man. More to come.
And before you do the drawing, let me just get people fired up for the drawing, just so we can get everyone going here. And then we're going to do the drawing. Here, one last time. Here we go.
A badass Yeti from the tribe. What's the word of the day? Yeti. Get your salmon while it's ready, because this one's gonna be epic. Get ready to claim your own legendary food tribe. Yeti of the cloud. It's now bill number 25. Blue tribe Yeti. On the clan. 5 beards. It's now bill number 25. Both 35. Let's go.
Let's go. I love that music. Gets me super pumped. Okay, guys, you guys had your chance. We got 23 in here. We're going to go ahead and draw who's going to win. Make sure you have your Zaman wallet. You know the rules. You come back with, I'm here getting my wallet. That's how it works. Ready? If you do not respond, we draw another. Let's go. We need music to play during this, Jeff.
So we do need music.
At
least a ticking, a clicking.
Justin Harrison, big winner today.
Look at that.
All right, good. Justin Harrison, big winner today. Justin, we know you're here because you've been checking in pretty regularly. There's a Yeti right there, dude. You got it. Very glad to see Justin be a winner here. An OG on the chain. So Justin, go get your Zaman wallet. You just have to say, I'm here, getting my wallet. And once you get your wallet, man, we will deliver your Frostbeard. Badass Yeti Blue Tribe. Very cool. And it's been weird because Justin's been close. He's that one tick before the winner. Like several times he's been like, Justin, and then boom, it goes. It always like, does that one extra tick.
That one.
You know what I mean? It's like on those wheels you spin. It's like tick, 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 tick. All right, cool, man. Justin, get your wallet.
You know what we need?
When you're like tick, 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 and you feel like you're that last, and then bankrupt, on the big old spinning dial. So there he is. He's got it already up there, man. Justin, that might be the new world record right there, bro. Beautiful.
You know what's weird?
Are you able to retrieve it there, Jeff?
I can't find our show. Hang on a minute.
You can't find our show.
There
Come on, dude.
Hang on, I had to refresh my screen. Hang on a second. I got to go into the YouTube. That's the only way I can grab it.
Badass Yeti Frostbeard winner. It's good. He's got the beard too. It's a frost beard for the bearded Justin. Gotta like it.
Hang on. Let me grab it.
Unless that's an older picture and you don't have the beard anymore, but I don't know.
Here we go. Now we're going to transfer this Frostbeard, this badass Yeti from the blue tribe of the clan Frostbeards. Isgoldur.
Yeah.
Hang on.
What's the pronunciation of that bad boy?
Pronunciation is.
Yeah, the Wheel of Fortune with those gears.
I'm on the QR
There it
code
goes.
right now.
Tick, 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 and bankrupt.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, 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 wah.
There we go. Transferring it over. Here it goes. Scanning. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
He's ready.
It's verifying. And it's gone. There you go.
Okay,
You are now,
you're
Justin is
now-
now the proud owner of this guy right here, which is the Badass Yeti number 235. Isgoldur. Isgoldur.
There he is. Put it up there.
Isgoldur.
You gotta put it in frame, Jeff.
Where is it? Oh, wait a minute. What? Oh, there we go. We are up there. There's the guy right there. Right.
There it is. See, he's
Pretty
got a frost
badass. Look at that frost beard. God, look at that. Look at those. Look at that silver horn on his head. That's for ramming.
Justin says his
That's a
beard's
nice
thicker
armor.
now, so he's got a frost beard
Oh.
for a frost beard.
And there
Living
it
in
is right
Kansas
there.
City there, man.
Isgoldur.
It's probably starting to warm up there finally. Probably starting to get a little bit of, thawed on the frost side of things. But I thought I would play our favorite IKEA guy, sales guy. I saw a new video from him, but I thought I'd play a new sales, the IKEA guy. Chris Seiss is the comedian's name, but I thought I'd put that up there.
No whammy, no whammy. Stop.
No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no stop whammy. Yeah. No whammy. Yeah, here we go. Ready?
Oh my God.
Find someone to cover your shift. That's your job. You're a manager, right? How about you manage the schedules? You want me to find my own replacement? Who am I, Willy Wonka? I know it sucks when you have to do your job. That's why I'm taking off in the first place. Find someone to cover tomorrow or find someone to cover it indefinitely. Either way, you're doing it.
I always, when you worked retail, it was always like, hey, I need to get off. I need to take Friday night off. Yeah, find someone to take your shift. It was like, wait a minute. It's like, isn't that your job? I love that. It's like so on point. It's like, wait, if you can find someone to replace you, of course, on a Friday night, nobody wanted to replace you, right? You're working an 8 to 12 shift. It's like, nobody's going to replace you on a Friday night. But you always had to go looking after your own replacement, which always was somewhat funny. But that's all we got in the bag, man. We have it. It's done. The show is done. We are in the bag.
No more show.
That's
Show
it.
is
Man.
over.
We are
Thank
done,
you,
guys. Go.
And good night.
Thank you and good night. And go amongst yourselves. We'll be back tomorrow night with another banger of a show. And, some more funny things and some more things to workshop and talk about. And probably be more on the political scale tomorrow. But we talked a lot about crypto today, Jeff, which is good.
That's good. We're going to change the theme of the show. It's going to be geopolitics, crypto, and religion.
And religion, yeah, it's fastly becoming a little bit of everything for some of them. Reborn John, thank you for the stream. Yeah, have a good rest of your weekend. You too, man. I'm heading up to a little bit north here in a little bit, so I'm gonna jump in the car. It's beautiful.
Heading to the shooting range.
Nice.
Went to the shooting range to shoot some guns.
Rob Cash, we love you, dude. Miss your videos, Rob. You are the best, dude. Miss Rob Cash video. Why don't you come on here, Rob? Why don't you come on as a guest? Come on and we'll.
Justin, it is gone. It is over to you. We sent it to your address.
We gotta get Rob Cash on here, man. Maybe some weeknight on a Wednesday night or something. Get Rob Cash on here.
Kevin Simon out.
Kevin Simon. Kevin Simon. That's when you've been around the block here a little bit. You understand who Kevin Simon are. Thank you. Must be mad love. Appreciate that, guys. Yeah, let's do it. All right, brother. We'll do it for sure. Yeah, I got to hang out with Rob like a year at the proper party. That was fun, man. It was good hanging out with him and see him in person.
Oh, that's right.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Let's do it. Okay, guys, that's all we have. Let me go ahead and cue up the outro song here. And we will see you guys tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I know many of you catch us later across the pond there, which we absolutely think you're insane, but we love you nonetheless because you're still up. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. Chip and Jeff out. See you on the next one.
Yeah.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.